Hi guys, it's Johnny from the Bulgarian Living channel. Today we're going to be talking about our chickens, our experiences with them and our plans for the future. Before we go any further, please like and subscribe to the channel. It gives you guys opportunity to learn, it also gives us an opportunity to share our experience with you. So today what I wanted to run through with you first was our experience when we first got here. We always wanted chickens. And countless books, countless YouTube videos. Nothing's going to prepare you quite like going and buying them. When we first got our chickens, we bought 6, I believe, from a farmer's market locally. When we got them, I'm not going to lie, they were quite unhealthy. We did lose one. We had them isolated for a while. We'll pop a picture somewhere in the sky. When we got them from the market, the man who sold them to us literally bunged them all in a box, and we popped them into an enclosure. After about 3 or 4 days, one of them started getting sick, so we took her out straight away, isolated her, and unfortunately, with all of the tonics and remedies that everyone recommended, she still didn't make it. We then moved them to down here, which is our sort of chicken area. And we bought a cockerel at the same time. He was quite young, but he has recently started crowing. He's recently started doing the deed, which is good because it gives us fertile eggs, which I'll get into later on with our future plans. In regards to feed, when we first come here, I was buying the 10 kilo sacks of chicken feed. Now, because we want to be self-sustainable and because the money's not there, food went up within 5 months. Food went up from around 10 lev for 10 kilos, which is roughly £5–6 UK money, and the next day I went down there, it had gone up to 15 lev, which is like £7.50, £8 for 10 kilos of feed. And I got talking to somebody and he said, well, why don't you mix your own? And so we have had an outlay of buying a food grinder, but now we're only paying 86 statinki, which is about 40 pence per kilo for wheat and corn. So what we did, we bought 500 kilos of each. I store that in the greenhouse, and I mix a batch up from time to time, just a dry mix to start with. I then put the mix into the chicken feed bucket. I will normally throw some whole corn in there, especially this time of year because it keeps them warm, and some whole wheat. At the moment I'm putting sunflowers in there, sunflower seeds, sorry, not sunflowers, and then they get scraps throughout the day, anything from the kitchen. Chickens are cannibals, so any of you guys that have seen previous videos, you'll see that we had broilers. Any of the leftovers from those, they came straight down here and they literally demolished it, which also helps them, you know, with protein, which helps produce eggs. The other thing we do is any eggs that we do take from the chickens, obviously for our own consumption, once we've eaten the eggs, we'll keep the shells, I'll grind them up and I throw them back down here for the chickens. It's added calcium. I also do have calcium powder, which I bought with me from the UK, but we are going to eventually run out of that as well. But they just get a teaspoon of that in a feed every other day. The first hens we bought, I thought they were Rhode Island Reds, but actually recently discovered that they're actually ISA hens, which is what they use commercially for egg production. They can supposedly lay up to like 250 eggs a year, which to some is unhealthy, to some it's fine. I mean, we treat ours and feed ours organically. They have a huge run, they're not in pens, they're not in cages, so they have a life. The second lot of chickens we bought was from a really nice couple actually called Steve and Lorraine, so shout out to Steve and Lorraine. And they gave us, we believe they're Indian game or black star chickens, and on the first day they arrived they were laying, and then we had the slow introduction of putting our ISA hens with them. We didn't have any bullies really, we didn't have any issues, just a slow introduction. And now they're all down here together. We currently have 10 down here, including the rooster. And we're getting at the moment, even with the colder days and the colder weather and the shorter days, we're still getting between 6 and 8 eggs a day from them. I'm going to discuss how we do that. Again, that advice came from Steve and Lorraine, which again has really helped us out. So what we done was we didn't do anything, and they stopped laying. And maximum in the summer we were only getting 3 eggs a day, and we were starting to think, oh, we're doing something wrong. But what it was firstly I miscalculated the feed, stupid me, and we didn't realise at the time, because obviously we're homesteading, we've thrown ourselves in, we've come from the UK, from a tiny little garden this big to all of this land, where we've sort of thrown ourselves in the deep end and we've had to learn, and sometimes you learn the hard way, but that's what it's about. So what we've done is we've bought solar lights, and our solar lights are on charge throughout the day. Even on days like today they do gain some charge. For laying, chickens need roughly 14 to 16 hours of light minimum a day. It doesn't seem to have a lot to do with temperature, which surprised me, but what we're doing currently is I'm mixing their feed in the morning. I give them the majority of their feed in the morning, and then I take the lights out from the previous night, and then what we do is we will come down when they're starting to roost. Normally, I mean, this time of year it's getting dark at around 5-6 o'clock in the evening. Once they go in there to roost, we bring the solar lights down. I put 2 down, they're just 600 watt 6 watt solar lights, and there's the solar panel there. And then I'll move them in there. The solar lights normally turn themselves off at about 2 o'clock in the morning, which is obviously gives them enough time to rest, because obviously we're aware that keeping the light on full time can stress them, although none of them seem very stressed. There's no feather pulling, there's no stressed behaviour. We will give them a break, probably January to March time, just so they have a chance to sort of, through the colder months here, I mean, we can get down to sort of -12, so we don't want them laying and using all their energy on laying. I'd rather keep them healthy, keep them warm. So that's where we're at currently. 8 eggs a day, 6 to 8 eggs a day. They're now fertile. There'll be a separate video on us incubating our own eggs, which sort of leads me on to the plans for the future really. The other thing I do is I'll add apple cider vinegar in their water. Again, check previous videos, because John, the cameraman today, has done an apple cider vinegar video, shows you how to make it, which for us has been free pretty much, and we're making gallons at a time. Other thing, just while we're touching on water, behind me here we've made like a very crude water catchment area, which needs improvement, but at the moment we're filling this, and with homesteading again, keeping on that, we're using everything we've got here on the homestead, which came from the barn, from the fields. We've kind of just Frankensteined it together to make this. Nothing here cost us any money, but it makes our job easier when we have to top up their water, sorry. We don't have to be running over there into the garden to be able to fill up a bucket of water. We can just do it here. I keep an eye on it just in case any obviously tannins have leached from the linden tree here, but it's pretty bald at the moment, so we're good in that respect. So our plans for the future. We initially, when we got here, bought broiler chickens, which again you'll see in a previous video. And for us, we wanted to do things as humanely as possible, as quick as possible, as kind as possible. And after a short review of the broiler situation, firstly, the cost of the feed is very expensive because you're supposed to give them like a concentrated feed, and so straight away the cost of chicken and food goes up. And we want to do things as cheap as we can, but also as kind as we can, and giving the animals what they need. And so we stuck with the commercial feed for quite a while, and the way that the broilers are bred, they're bred for meat, and they're bred to grow quick. With them growing fast, towards the end they get to the point where they can't walk, where they're growing so quickly their feathers can't develop properly and they become bald, and it kind of gets to that stage where you think, am I being cruel? We didn't get to that point completely, but I didn't want to get to that point. We did let them go over the recommended slaughter date, just because they weren't weighing enough, but we also didn't want to be selfish, so that's why we decided to do them. Which leads us on to our plans for the future. Now, these guys down here are happy, they're healthy, everyone's been treated for parasites, and obviously I use the apple cider vinegar as a preventative. But our plans for the future: currently we have 52 eggs in the incubator. We also have 13 Easter egg chicks. For those of you who don't know what Easter eggs are, they're a mixed breed of chicken that lay coloured eggs, so they can be pink, blue, white, green, and yellow. We just thought it would add a bit of variety to our kitchen, but they're really nice chickens, and so we thought, well, we would add those to our flock as they get older. We've had no issues with egg incubation. We will do a separate video on egg incubation. And so future plans, because of everything that we've said with the broilers, what I think we're planning on doing, and I think is the way forward, is to hopefully constantly have eggs in the incubator. We're planning on this field behind this tree, turning that into a huge chickenopolis, basically, with obviously a big coop so they can all go and roost in there and lay, and they will have a lot bigger area, so happy chickens equals more eggs. And we'll continue with the light method out there. Currently I'm not running electric, so I'm not spending any money. It is just solar, and that's how I think I'll continue to do it. But the plans for the future would be to constantly have eggs in the incubator, constantly have chicks in the brooder, which again we'll do another video on how to keep them warm this time of year. It gets cold, and have sort of an endless supply. So as older chickens slow down, replace them with newer ones. The older chickens will be harvested, so they're not going to waste, and the newer ones replace them with eggs for laying. And any surplus roosters we get obviously will be for freezer camp. I plan to keep about 3 roosters and roughly 50 birds in there at all times. Obviously any surplus can just be raised for meat. It's not a nice thing to think about or talk about, but we're homesteading and we eat meat, so that's what we have to do. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see, anything else you'd like me to mention. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Before we go, John has just informed me that he's going to do you a chicken dance.
I really didn't.
And I will say ciao for now. But John's going to give me the camera, and John is doing the chicken dance with the chickens in the background.
I don't know why I've been told to do this, but I need to do it. Let me just get warmed up real quick. Right. Once again, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Ciao for now.